Our next guest on the Drop Zone, Sean, we are very excited
PGA champion
to welcome Collin Morikawa to the show. Collin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. You almost said my last name like they said at the PGA Championship.
Oof, I tried to say your first name and last name together there. Wait, what did they say at the PGA Championship?
They said Collin Morikawa
Oh my god.
on the first tee. So we had a good laugh in the first hole all the way to 18.
That happens so often.
I'm a little
the
nervous.
first tee guy, you have one job: get these pronunciations right, and it happens like awful all the time.
Dude, how do you think the chair goes on the first tee?
Yeah.
My last name is spelled very differently from how it's said, and
It's tough.
I had a tough stretch back.
So wait, what was your reaction to that?
I had to I took a little laugh, stepped off the tee,
Yeah.
kind of gave it an extra couple seconds, and fired one down the middle.
That's pretty fun. What's it been like having these introductions in complete silence?
It's so different. Like, we miss the fans. I mean, you can see so many of our finishes since, post quarantine and all that stuff for us. They would have been so much more exciting with fans because they bring the life of everything. They bring the excitement. You can tell what's going on around the course, but now we're just looking at leaderboards, kind of figuring what things are like. So we miss it. I mean, that's all part of just being a professional athlete.
You got the worst of you got teased by the fans, right? You had, I don't know, a full calendar year of being out on tour and having all the fans, winning with the fans, and now you're winning without the fans, and so you're just stuck in a spot, kind of waiting and being patient. And
You know how cool it was.
I feel like it's starting to wear off on guys though. Right away everyone was back at the Colonial and stoked to be back, and then it's like, okay, well, we want the fans now. We want normalcy back.
Well,
I
it's
think
the
guys
same
are starting to
thing
lose
It's
patience.
the same thing with any of us, right? We were going to the office and everyone's like, "Oh, this is so cool. You can work from home. You can do whatever you want." And then a few months in, you're like, I'm kind of gaining weight. I'm waking up in the morning. I'm not really doing anything. People are like, maybe I miss going to the office. Is this just a me problem?
Be you thing.
Anyway, let's go back to the start. Tell us about how you got into golf. Tell us, how did this all begin?
Yeah, pretty much when I was born, my parents tried taking up the game, and as any little kid would do, you just kind of follow what they do. So started taking lessons when I was about 5. I grew up in LA, and that's pretty much when they stopped playing. They never really got into it. My dad would always go to my lessons, follow me, so he knows everything about it. But it was kind of just let me do my own thing. So obviously fell in love, pretty much quit baseball and basketball when I was 10, 11, because I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you liked it.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true of everyone.
No, and I liked hanging out with friends, and I liked going and playing other sports, but I knew this is what I wanted to do. And watching people on TV is pretty inspiring as a little kid.
Yeah.
And now I'm on TV playing with Tiger, every few weeks here and there, and how cool is that?
You were born after Tiger's first tour win, right? You were the first guy to ever play with Tiger that was born after he won on tour.
Yeah, I think that was
What
a
year
stat.
were you born?
97.
Man,
Yeah,
usually Drop Zone guests are older than us. That's not the case anymore.
Oh, you're good.
But playing with Tiger, what was the first time you played with him at Torrey?
Torrey.
Yeah.
Yep. Torrey earlier this year.
Was Tiger an idol in the way that he was for a lot of people for you, or was it someone beyond, after him, that was your idol?
No, he's the guy. And I think it's he's still the guy for kids that are growing up now, that are just picking up the game.
I feel bad for Phil a little bit, because Phil Mickelson and Ernie, phenomenal, right? VJ, incredible golfers. But when anyone your age is on tour, it was Tiger.
Yeah, but see, I think I'm at a point where I understand what Phil, what VJ, what Ernie, what those guys have done.
Yeah.
Kids now, they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
They still know who Tiger is. They don't know who those guys are. I was still at a point where Tiger was competing against those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you were starting to watch golf, that really was his peak. If you look back at he wasn't even playing that much, Tiger, but he was 06, 07. He would just win every other week.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing. Did you have a bunch of friends that played golf growing up, or was it you spending a lot of time by yourself?
It was me by myself. It's crazy because all my friends either played soccer, or basketball, or baseball, or whatever it was. And you think there's a lot of kids in California, but if you think about where you are in Los Angeles, there's just not that many courses you can go and play with a bunch of other players, like a San Diego out here or Florida. So it was a lot of alone time on the course. Played a lot on the course, and that's just kind of how I crafted my game.
So you were a course guy. You
Yeah.
were a player rather than a range
100%,
grinder.
100%, and I still am.
Yeah.
I rarely just go beat balls on the range.
Interesting.
I think that would make you probably rare on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, what's the split? What's the split like, do you think?
I don't know. I think it's a pretty good split.
Yeah.
I think it's closer to 50-50 than you think.
Okay.
There's a bunch of guys that love to practice, and there's a bunch of guys that love to play. And everyone can do it. Everyone can play well.
I totally respect
golf,
both sides. Like when DJ will just bang balls in his, the inside studio with Claude Harmon, and he just doesn't really care to go and hit balls on the course. It's like,
I don't think
you're
Bryson.
incredible.
I don't think Bryson plays golf outside of PGA Tour weeks.
I played with him at Colonial, first
Yeah.
event back, and I asked him obviously how was his quarantine, but he said he didn't want to go play outside. He just wanted to work inside. But that's
He
why
throws
everyone's
on the
different.
Twitch stream. He gets things going in the backyard with his net, his Orgain, and he just tries to hit 210 ball speed.
I
It's
respect
amazing.
it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So at this point now, we're at an Adidas photo shoot. You are one of the Adidas players. You have risen to this point, I think. All due respect, I think you've done it quick. I think a lot of people have seen an ascendance from you. Did you expect all of this at any point in your life? And did it make sense early on that this was going to be your future?
I always thought it was going to be my future. I didn't expect at a certain time I would need to get something done or I need to win a tournament. But to finally be here, to finally be with Adidas, that they've helped me since I've been, since I've been 14.
Yeah.
So I've seen all their lines,
Yeah.
and now to finally wear their stuff and to see what's coming out, that's the coolest thing for me. But to finally be where I'm at in that year and a half that I've turned pro, I thought it was possible. It was going to take a lot of good play,
Does
obviously.
it get annoying when people like me are like, dude, what do you think of all this? You've done so many crazy things in 18 months. And
Yeah.
it's probably a classic question.
It's crazy because you guys might expect me to be wow, I can't believe where I'm
Yeah.
at, right?
Yeah.
I'm living my dream, but to be honest, this is where I always thought I was going to be, and I think there's so much more ahead of me that, I'm not going to put a limit to what can happen and what I can
That's
do.
smart. Yeah.
Because if I do, then you're going to get complacent. You're going to think
Totally.
that everything's all right, and you're just not going to want to get better.
I thought I would be shortstop for the Red Sox, and maybe I needed a little more of that push somewhere along the way.
Oh man, it's funny. So, do you miss baseball or basketball?
I do.
Are you still a fan?
I'm a Lakers and Dodgers fan, so we're doing pretty good.
You're
Yeah.
in amazing shape.
Yeah,
Do
we're doing great.
you ever play other sports these days? I mean, you don't want to.
Well, I'll play basketball. We played a lot of basketball in college. Some buddies on the team, some high school buddies. I'll still go back and play whenever we're in town together.
Nice.
Yeah, I love staying active. Love going to the ocean. When we're in Hawaii, couldn't ask for much more there.
That's awesome. When did you finally get I'm thinking about this idea of growing up playing golf by yourself. When did you finally get golf friends? High school, college? Or not even still? Or you still pretty much do your own thing?
In the AJGA, right, which is the junior tour for the entire country,
Yeah.
and you meet everyone there. The guys that are on the Corn Ferry Tour
Yeah.
now that are my age, Wolf, Victor, all these guys that I've played with, I've known them for over 6, 7, 8 years now. It's
Yeah.
because I've seen them so many times. So that's where you grow most of your golf friends. I didn't grow most of my golf friends in high school or whatever because I just had my group of friends that
Yeah.
didn't really care what I was doing. They just figured I'd go to the golf course and beat some balls.
Yeah, go win a tournament
Yeah.
nationally and come back. Yeah. At what point did you become elite? Were you pretty much, once you started getting serious, were you already on that top level?
I won the Western Junior when I was 20. That was 2013, so 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's when I started playing really well. That's when I got my name out there, got into team events for this AJGA stuff, the Wyndham Cup, and that's when I knew, okay, we can start competing. I won a big amateur event right before my freshman year in college, a Trans-Miss, and
Yeah.
from there just all kept going.
What were you doing in 2013?
I guess I was in college, senior year.
There you go.
Senior year?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, UW.
Junior year? Tailgating?
Yeah,
Madison?
still.
Did you miss out on a full college experience being a stud athlete that's about to go pro, or did you still when you were at school, did you still kind of get to do a lot of normal things?
I think we still had a great time.
Yeah.
That's just the balance of
Yeah.
balancing out time and being efficient because it's all doable. You just gotta make sure you give yourself enough time to do those things. I don't think people realize college golf, we travel more than any other sport.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, we're gone for 5-6 days, and then we come back and we're gone again the next couple weeks. So
it's got to be one of those unwritten lessons that are like de facto lessons that, like, when you get to the PGA Tour, people are like, oh, he's gonna mismanage his time. He's gonna be beating balls on Wednesday before a Thursday event, and it sounds like you actually learned a lot of that stuff at Cal.
yeah, and I think you would think a lot of pros would know that, but still, guys come out every year not realizing like not everyone just sits out there from sunrise to sunset trying to figure it out. And that's just a learning process. Everyone goes through it.
You're a master of business. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You graduated from Haas. And was that hard? Did you do a ton of schoolwork in college?
It was tough, but it was very doable.
Okay.
Like I had it pretty mapped out. I didn't know I wanted to do that when I came into school, but it was definitely an option. And thankfully I was admitted. I don't know how, but I got in. And you know, we had some decent grades. We didn't have to. We weren't scraping the pass line, but we weren't, you know, the A+ student every day.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
you didn't get a 4.0.
Yeah. We did not get a 4.0.
Nor did I. I guess fast forwarding to where you are now, 3-time PGA Tour winner. We're gonna not fast forward because I want you to think about your Pac-12 self. Like 2 years ago, you're All-American, All Pac-12. How different, in what ways are you different as a golfer than you were 2 years ago?
I think I just have more shots.
Okay.
I think through more shots, and that's been a huge help for my caddy who, you know, before I turned pro, I had no clue how to interview a caddy.
Oh,
You know,
how does that
you just-
process go?
You don't know what to ask, right?
Yeah.
You just figure they all walk off your yardage, tell you, you know, what the wind's doing. But they're such an important factor. And like JJ, who's on my bag, has been such a huge help. So he sees different shots. He helps me see different shots. And I think that's just improved. You know, everything's still growing. My short game obviously has gotten a little better, but still so much room for improvement.
I think that is a huge misconception for the golf fans who sit on the couch and watch the PGA Tour, is they see caddies walk off a yardage and just kind of deliver it, and they think that that's it. But like I think in order to be a winner on the PGA Tour, you and your caddy generally need to have this almost like kinesis thing between you two, and you're totally vibing on. You're expecting him to say something, and he's expecting you to say something, and then you kind of mesh those.
Sean
things.
made his PGA Tour caddy debut this year, so
Yeah.
he's kind of
No
an
way.
expert
At,
now.
3M Open. We have both
With
had
who?
experience playing with
Trainer.
Martin Trainer.
Our boy Martin
man.
Trainer. Hey, another. Well,
Cowboy.
not that you're a Bay Area kid,
Yeah.
but you
No,
know.
yeah, Bay Area. I saw him once in a while. We'd go to qualifying. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, we've got a combined 3 starts with Martin Trainer, and we're still like looking for that breakthrough moment. But no, he's a friend of the show.
So, but how many more shots do you have that you didn't have 2 years ago? Can you put a number on it?
No, I wouldn't say there's a number, and I wouldn't say I didn't have those shots. It's just I've gotten better at being able to perform those in tournaments. You know, like I'm not hitting a big 25-yard cut every single shot, even if it's like water on the left, pin on the left. Sometimes if you're on, it's going to work, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you're not, that ball's in the water.
Yeah. So to that same idea, what's the biggest difference between you and someone you played against in the Pac-12 who's not on tour, but who is a really good college player? You know, like how
Yeah.
thin is that margin?
It's super thin.
Yeah. And who makes it?
That's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, start gambling on
Teach
who's
us.
going to make it. No, I don't know. I mean, but so I had dinner with Justin Thomas my first event out in Canada last year, and he said, you know, if you're good enough, which a lot of these college players are, you're going to make it out there to the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
It's just you don't know your time. You know, it could be next week, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. But if you know and you really believe that you're good enough, you're going to get there. And I think that's what a lot of guys don't get, is that they might see like me, Wolf, and Victor come out last summer and think, man, I got to do this exact same thing.
Yes. I think there's pressure
then-
on college kids to do that.
Exactly,
To
and then they
think
think
that
they fail in a year, but that's not the case, you know.
Right.
And you know, guys like I had grown up with, Davis Riley, Will Zalatoris, guys leading Korn Ferry. Like, yes, they didn't go down the path I took last year, but those guys are killing it out there. Will just finished top 5 or whatever, top 10
Yeah.
U.S. Open.
He's
Like,
nasty.
they're all good players, and they're gonna get here at some point. So,
I was down at the Pinehurst for the USAM last year, so basically 13 months ago, and this was right after Barracuda and 3M. So you and Matt had both just won, and Victor is like obviously incredible. And I asked Austin Eckroat, who very, very good player, probably maybe a couple years younger than you guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, does it feel like you need to follow a script? And he's like, yeah, man, it's like so obvious because those guys are my roommates. Like he was rooming with Victor.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
My roommate isn't out on the PGA Tour. How do I keep the faith? How do I know that my time's coming, but my time might be 36 months from now?
Yeah, and then I think the best advice for them is like, don't put a timeline.
Yeah.
You know, if you start putting a timeline and then that's when you put about expectations. I don't put any expectations, you know, it's just goals. Like, can you check off these goals as quick as you can and then put on new ones?
Are you able to share what's the next goal for you, or 2 or 3 goals that you have in mind that like, okay, we won the PGA Championship and the workday. Like, is it winning 3 times in a year? Is it another major? Like, do you have?
Yeah, of course, majors are always on those lists of goals.
Yeah.
Try and win every win. Obviously, it's very hard.
Yeah.
I was going to say impossible, but
It's
it's not impossible. It's not impossible. I would never say that.
Yeah.
But it's very hard. But you know, short-term goals. I think for me, it's to stay in the present. I did really well with that last summer, coming out, having no status, not worrying about all these points that are up in the air.
There's so many points.
You know, it's like, yeah, 1 week you're here, next week you're not.
Gosh, I wonder.
Yeah.
Do you think people get wrapped up in that? Because
100%.
Oh yeah.
100%. You know,
it's everything.
Go back to your hotel room. Got not a lot going on. You got to stay in the bubble.
Yeah.
Update your FedEx points in the PGAtour.com.
Yeah, but you know, for me, it's just focus on what's next. You know, and I've got a few events before the Masters, and I got to get ready for that. I love the West Coast swing. You know, being a West Coast guy.
Well, you've got like a fall West Coast swing now.
Yep.
Vegas,
Vegas, LA.
Sherwood.
I love it. And home base for you is
in Vegas, so we've got 3 home events. In a
you
row.
got some home games.
I'm ready.
All right, I love it. I think we got to wrap up with Collin here, but we appreciate the time. We're excited to see what's next. Is there anything that surprises you about the PGA Tour? Clearly, this has all been on plan so far. Anything that's thrown you for a loop?
No, and it's crazy that nothing has. Like, there seriously hasn't, because I love it. I think the coolest thing is that all the guys out here on the PGA Tour, like, we're just normal guys. Like, we're really good at golf, but we love other things. Like, we're not just golf focused. And I think finding out, learning about these guys, having fun with them off the course has been the best thing, because like that's your new group of buddies.
Yeah.
My last question is, what was the coolest thing that's happened for you post PGA, post Harding Park? Did anybody reach out to you? Did life change for you in a way that week that was really cool?
Life got a lot busier.
Yeah.
When Tiger
you got booked in the drop zone.
When Tiger came up to me and called me a major champ, you know, that was the coolest thing.
Well, if you ever need a fill-in caddy, we could use a made cut on the PGA Tour. So you could actually help us out rather than the other way
only
around.
Mrs. Cuts. Collin only
boy,
Mrs. Cuts.
where's the wood?
Yeah, he's like trying to get out of here. All right, Collin Morikawa, thanks for coming on the drop zone.
Thanks, guys.